guillotine. Holy shit!
C100, Introduction to Humanities. To start things off with, as usual, I'll give you a timeline. I started the class, today is Saturday, and I actually jumped into the class probably Wednesday and just shuffled around a little bit in it. But I should start off saying this is the first time that I'm going to come to you guys where I actually haven't passed the entire class yet, and I'll explain why. So for Introduction to Humanities, there is an OA and there is a PA. For people that are new to the channel or new to my videos, or just new to WGU, PA, you have two different PAs at WGU. You have a PA, which is a pre-assessment, and then you have PA, which is a performance assessment. A performance assessment is just paper or papers that you have to write. Now, I have passed the objective assessment, but I have not passed the performance assessment yet. I decided to make this video just because it takes a while for you to get your performance assessments back, and what I'm assuming everybody is really more curious about mostly is the objective assessments, because there's really not a whole lot of advice I feel like you can give on performance assessments. You know, you can either you're good at writing papers or you're not, and you're just going to have to dive into, you know, what it is, because you can submit them as many times as you want. You know, and there's no like real fail to performance assessment as far as I understand. So, you know, if you send it in, there's something wrong with it, they'll just send it back and give you revisions that you need to make. So there's really no reason, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure I will make videos on performance assessment only courses at some point in the future, you know, just to kind of give my thoughts and ideas. But as far as I get from Introduction to Humanities, the actual performance assessment task isn't really that complicated. And I just passed the objective assessment, and I didn't want to wait 3 or 4 days to get the performance assessment back before I came to you guys with my thoughts on the objective assessment, because I know by then I'll forget everything that was in the objective assessment. So I should say that this course is probably more of like a philosophy type course, like philosophy/history type course. And I've read a lot how people say this course is super dry and they hate it and they just can't wait to get over it and everything. But luckily for me, this is the kind of stuff that I'm actually interested in. I mean, I watch videos and stuff like it. I won't bore you guys with my political affiliations or thoughts, because I think there's enough of that out there on the internet. But this type of stuff I'm actually interested in, you know, like postmodernism. I've read Karl Marx books. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I have read it just because this kind of stuff is like interesting to me, you know? So the course wasn't dry to me. I actually enjoyed watching the videos and everything. So really the big decider on this course is whether you're actually interested or like to listen to these type of things or learn about these type of things or not. But luckily I do. So the course wasn't too bad for me. There is cohorts on it. They're broke down into like 3-minute videos, 3 to like 7-minute videos on each individual like key theme of each individual of the 5 periods that you go through. So, you know, like if you go to the actual cohort section, the recorded cohorts, there's like, they have all the themes of each individual period, and you can watch like a 3-minute video. And there's a bunch of videos throughout the course material also that you can go and watch, and all those helped out a lot. I didn't read the material very much at all, per usual, but the videos helped out. It's hard for me to read things and retain it or stay interested, but I enjoy, actually. I even do this on my free time. I watch YouTube videos on things that interest me, as everybody does, I'm sure. So, you know, this was just like my every, you know, when I'm at work, you know, YouTube and a video and just listening to it as I'm out there doing what I'm doing. So anyway, I watched all the videos, took the PA and passed it, but just by barely a little sliver. And I did what I usually do, is I went to the section that I didn't do very well on. You know, I got green on all of them except for the Neoclassical period and Enlightenment period. And I didn't do very well on that one. So what I did is I just went into the course study and did the module tests and quizzes for that one period. Then I scheduled the OA for this morning and took it and passed it. Again, it's going to be hard for me to say whether people are going to struggle with this class or not, because again, I like kind of enjoy this. This type of thing, like philosophy and listening to lectures and stuff like that. I do that on my free time, you know, about things that interest me, obviously. So some of this stuff I kind of already knew. Some of this stuff was kind of like, oh yeah, I remember hearing about that at one point. So it's going to be hard for me to say whether you guys are going to do well or do bad on this course. It's just all your interest, and luckily this type of thing interests me. So it was easy for me to retain things that people have said about it in the videos or in the past or whatnot. Now, as far as advice goes, there's a few things that you should probably look out for in this class. One of them is they do focus pretty heavily on music and art. Those are kind of like big themes throughout all the different periods that they go through. I don't know why that's important to know to be a well-rounded college student, but for some reason they think it is. That you hear about Mozart and Bach, and you know about all these different. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these like French artists' names and stuff, but there's a decent amount of questions on the PAs and OAs about different artists and composers and things like that. So that was probably something that I struggled with a little bit, is memorizing that stuff, because I was okay with the philosophy type stuff of the different periods, but art and music I don't really follow at all. I'm not a big classical music type guy or art type guy. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's not something I study or have really ever paid too much attention to. Another piece of advice that I would give about this class is all the sections in the OA are together. So if you go through your Neoclassical Enlightenment period, then all of them are together. They don't sprinkle in a question about classical, and then a question about Enlightenment, and then a question about Romanticism. Like, all of them are bunched together. They're not in the order that they are in the course material, but they are all bunched together. So if you have a question like, what period does XYZ have to do with, and it's classical, then the next question is going to be about classical, and the next question is going to be about classical until they move on to like Renaissance or whatever. So there was like 5 questions in the OA where like every single one of the questions, for like 3 or 4 questions, was classical or Enlightenment or something like that. So that's something to look out for in the OA, as they are all bunched together. So if that makes sense. That's a hard thing to explain, but I hope that makes sense. But other than that, I mean, in my opinion, the class was pretty easy. It wasn't too bad. Again, I haven't taken the actual performance assessment, but from what I've read and everything like that, it looks like it's pretty easy. So I'm going to submit that here in the next day or so, and then probably start another course tomorrow, because I'm not going to just wait around to get that one back. So my next course that I'm starting is, drum roll, Information Technology Management Essentials, DO75. I'm going to start that in the next couple days. From what I've heard, it's not too long of a class, so I'll come back on here pretty soon, I imagine. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll holler at you at the next one.